Jake here for American Muscle, and today I've got the C&L Sport Cat-Back Exhaust with black tips fitting 2015 and newer EcoBoost Mustangs without the active exhaust. From the factory, EcoBoost S550s don't really sound like a whole lot, but it's also very easy to uncork a 4-cylinder engine to the point where it's way too loud and it just doesn't sound good at all. This system from C&L bridges that gap, giving you a nice grumbly sound without going so far as to blow out your eardrums. It also offers a cool look and solid construction at a super affordable price. Now, the exhaust note on the EcoBoost Mustang has been a topic of much debate since the car's introduction, and it's plagued by the exact same problem that many other turbocharged 4-cylinder engines have, and that's simply the lack of noise. Between the turbocharger, the emission systems, and the mufflers and resonators in the exhaust itself, Turbo 4s tend to just not make much noise, and that simply is not going to do for a Mustang. But as you heard in the clips at the beginning of the video, this exhaust makes a pretty big difference in volume. On our loudness meter, we're going to give this one a 4 out of 5. It's pretty loud, but it doesn't just make noise. Now, of course, whether or not you like the sound of an exhaust is subjective, but I happen to think that this one sounds pretty good. You get a nice little bark on cold starts, and that settles into a mellow rumble at idle once the car's warmed up. Of course, once you really get on it, you get a really aggressive note. Not quite enough to make your neighbors entirely irate, but it will get you noticed. Now, inside of the cabin, as with any exhaust upgrade, there is going to be a noticeable increase in volume. Mustangs are reasonably quiet on the interior, but let's not forget that this is at its heart a performance car, so a little more volume in the cabin is not necessarily a bad thing. And as you heard in those clips, it's not too obtrusive like some other systems can be. You're still going to be able to hold a conversation, listen to music or a podcast, or even take a long road trip without your passengers complaining too much. Now, this is a full cat-back system, and it's constructed from 3-inch mandrel-bent 409 grade stainless steel, so it's going to provide improved exhaust flow and good resistance to rust and corrosion. As you can see, there's no weird bends or creases in any of these pipes. Helping out with that durability are the mufflers, which are finished off with this high-temp black finish. Not only do these look good, but they're also going to help keep rust at bay while improving sound. Now, these are nearly straight through, as you might be able to see there, but they do have some baffling on the insides. The system is finished off with these 4.5-inch black tips that also have the same finish as the mufflers. Now, these are constructed from dual-wall T304 grade stainless steel, and they are a clamp-on design as well, so you can also adjust the fitment in or out as you see fit. One other thing to note, though, is that in this extension pipe here, this is meant to fit your stock catalytic converter, so it's got this reducer on it to fit that stock cat. Now, if you're going to be using an aftermarket downpipe or some sort of aftermarket catalytic converter pipe, you may have to modify this depending on the diameter, so just something to be aware of if you're going to go that route as well. Now, as far as pricing goes, this is going to run you about $475, making it one of the least expensive options available for these cars. Of course, you're not getting the full 304 stainless treatment, but this is still well constructed, and I think it makes a good noise. So if you want the bare bones good stuff, that construction and the noise without having to pay the price of one of the big name brands, this is going to be an excellent choice for you. Installation will come in at a 2 out of 3 on the difficulty meter, and you should plan on it taking you about 2 hours to complete. This is a totally bolt-on system, no cutting at all is required, so you can always revert back to stock should you need to, and your install is only going to require a few tools outside of your jack and jack stands. It will, of course, also utilize all of your factory exhaust mounting points, and you also get brand new band clamps in the kit to get everything fitting together nice and snug. And with that, let's throw it over to the install bay and we'll show you what's involved.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun, a ratchet, a 13mm socket, and a 15mm socket. Hi everyone, today we're installing an exhaust on our Mustang, but first, let's watch a short video on how to uninstall the stock system.
Now, your obvious first step here, guys, is to lift and support your car, whether it be on jack and jack stands, or in this case, a lift. Now, with the car up in the air, we're gonna start by removing the 2 13mm bolts, securing these brackets back here towards the rear of the car. Now we can move up to our clamp here that secures our factory catback to our downpipe and loosen these 2 15mm nuts here. We don't have to remove them all the way. We just want to make sure we can loosen those enough to loosen this clamp up. So now with our forwardmost clamp loosened up, we're going to grab a buddy here, and what we're gonna do is get the exhaust off of the brackets here that secure it to the rear subframe, drop the front of the catback itself, and then at that point we can slide the rear of the factory catback out of these hangers.
Now we need to transfer these middle hangers here from our original system to our new system. And to do that, we're just going to slide these off. The hangers here is facing towards the front of the vehicle when you put it onto the new system. That way it'll hook into the hanger on the subframe the way it's supposed to. Now we'll go ahead and put these on our new system. First thing we're going to do is slide our Y pipe into our existing clamp that was left when we removed the original stock system. And when you install this, you want to make sure that this flat piece on this support brace here on the Y pipe is facing down towards the ground. So we'll go ahead and slide this in. And then we'll just go ahead and snug it up with our 15mm socket. Now you don't want to tighten it down all the way, just hold it just enough to hold it in place while we install the rest of the system. Next thing we're going to do is reattach the two hangers that go behind the differential here that we took off on their original stock system. So we're just going to hang those up and install the bolt just to hold it in place. Now we can go ahead and assemble our under axle pipe and our muffler and install it all as one unit. Next, we're going to take one of our 3-inch clamps and slide it onto the end of our Y pipe here. And then we'll do the same thing on our muffler. We'll go ahead and install a clamp on that. Now you want to make sure when you're getting ready to install this that you grab the one for the correct side. What you're going to do is you're going to want the exhaust hanger that's attached to the item pointing towards the inside or center of the vehicle, and you want the hanger to be welded on the top. And the same thing for your exhaust pipe. Now this one mount in the center of the pipe, so it's not going to be on top, but it does point to the inside. So once you've got those two selected, we're going to slide those pipes together, and then we're going to install it as one unit. First, into the hanger that's right behind the differential. And once you've got that one started, then we'll install the one in the rear of the vehicle. And then once you've got both of those in place, then we'll go ahead and slip our under axle pipe over the Y pipe. And now we can go ahead and snug those down with our 15mm socket. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of rough it in place. And then snug our clamps down just to hold it in place for right now. Now you can repeat this whole process for the other side. Now that we've got our system all in position and snugged up, we can go ahead and finish installing our exhaust tips. So we're just going to slide the clamp over the exhaust tip, slide it onto the muffler, and then you want to adjust it to make sure that it's positioned correctly. Then once we've got that done, we can go ahead and tighten up the clamp. And now you can repeat that process for the other side. Now with everything installed, we'll start from the front and work our way back and tighten up all of our clamps using our 15mm socket. Now, one last thing is just double check your clearances. Make sure that there's no interference with any of the cross members or wiring or anything like that, and you're good to go. And that wraps up our review and install of the C&L Sport Cat-Back Exhaust with black tips for the 15 and newer Mustang EcoBoost Fastback without active exhaust. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.